Good morning all. In this video lesson, we are going to study about narrowband FM and wideband FM, and we will also compare narrowband FM and wideband FM. We will study about pre-emphasis and de-emphasis in FM, and we also compare AM, FM and PM. Upon completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand what is narrowband FM and what is wideband FM, and we define pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. What are the benefits of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis? We will also study the pre-emphasis and de-emphasis circuits, and we will see the advantages and disadvantages of AM, FM and PM. So before going to start the class, let us summarize what we have reviewed in the last class. We studied about bandwidth of FM. FM is a form of angle modulation in which the frequency of the carrier is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal. An important feature of angle modulation is that it can provide better discrimination against noise and interference than amplitude modulation. This improvement in performance is achieved at the expense of increased transmission bandwidth. We studied about transmission bandwidth. So if we increase the bandwidth, we can provide more signal to noise ratio. And hence, frequency modulation provides us a practical means of exchanging transmission bandwidth for improved noise performance. Such a trade-off is not possible in amplitude modulation, and hence we have frequency modulation. The benefits of the frequency modulation are the amplitude of the frequency modulation wave remains independent of depth of modulation. The noise is very much minimized, and we have also seen the effects of noise on FM, and we also studied noise triangle. The main advantage of FM is that most of the noise is eliminated. The amplitude of the frequency modulated wave remains independent of depth of modulation. In case of AM, this amplitude is dependent on the modulation index. As the transmitted power in FM is useful, in AM, most of the transmitted power is in carrier, which is not useful, and hence all the transmitted power in FM is useful. The signal to noise ratio is very large in FM due to the large reduction in the noise. We have trade-off between signal to noise ratio and bandwidth. Noise in frequency modulation system can be reduced by increasing the deviation. There is no such possibility in case of AM. While allocating the frequency of FM, a guard band is provided between two frequencies. This reduces adjacent channel interference. So the adjacent channel interference is more in case of AM. So in this FM, it is very much minimized. So frequency modulated transmitters are operated in the upper VHF and UHF frequency range, at which we have very less noise when compared with AM transmitters. FM broadcast frequency, the space wave frequency is used for propagation so that the transmission is limited slightly more than the line of sight. It is thus possible to operate several independent transmitters on the same frequency, which is not possible with AM. So applications of FM are, FM is widely used in radio broadcasting in the range from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So all the FM channels are available in this frequency band. FM is used in entertainment equipment such as video cassette recorders. Narrowband FM is used in mobile communication. And we also see the noise triangle. How do we minimize the effects of noise? Now we will compare narrowband FM and wideband FM. So FM are classified into two types, narrowband FM and wideband FM. So what is narrowband FM? Because it depends on the modulation index. How do you define the modulation index of FM? Modulation index of FM is defined as the ratio of frequency deviation to the message signal frequency. So as the frequency deviation increases, modulation index increases. Frequency deviation is in turn directly proportional to amplitude of the message signal. If the amplitude of the message signal increases, frequency deviation increases, thereby modulation index increases. And we have, based on the value of modulation index, we have narrowband FM and wideband FM. Narrowband FM modulation index is very small compared to 1 radian. Wideband FM modulation index is large compared to 1 radian. Bandwidth of narrowband FM is equal to AM, means narrowband FM contains two sidebands and there is no specific advantage of narrowband FM over AM. So the frequency deviation is more, modulation index is more in case of wideband FM, and hence the bandwidth requirement is also more. Now let us compare narrowband FM with wideband FM. So we take the parameter modulation index. In case of narrowband FM, the modulation index is less than 1. Wideband FM, it is greater than 1. The maximum frequency deviation allowed for the case of narrowband FM is 5 kilohertz, whereas in case of wideband FM, we can increase up to 75 kilohertz. Practical FM transmitters, we have maximum deviation 75 kilohertz. Now let us take the parameter range of modulating frequency. Narrowband FM, we have 20 Hz to 3 kilohertz, and hence narrowband FM is used for transmission of voice only. Whereas wideband FM, which includes the frequencies from 20 Hz to 15 kilohertz, our voice frequencies are from 300 Hz to 3.4 kilohertz, and hence, in addition to our voice, we can transmit the music frequencies, and hence wideband FM is particularly suitable for entertainment purpose for broadcasting the programs. The maximum modulation index is slightly greater than 1 in case of narrowband FM, whereas in case of wideband FM, it is 5 to 2500. We can provide more modulation index. Due to that, there will be more bandwidth. So bandwidth in case of narrowband FM is very small, that is equal to same as that of AM, and hence the bandwidth of narrowband FM is equal to 2 times the highest frequency present in the given message signal. So whereas in case of wideband FM, we have large bandwidths, it is 15 times greater than that of narrowband FM, and hence the bandwidth of wideband FM is equal to 2 times delta. Delta is the maximum frequency deviation plus maximum frequency present in the message signal. So bandwidth of the wideband FM is delta, means frequency deviation plus maximum message signal frequency multiplied by 2. So as the deviation increases, the bandwidth also increases. When the bandwidth increases, there is a better signal to noise ratio for wideband FM. The main important applications of narrowband FM are FM mobile communication like police wireless, walkie-talkies, ambulance, short-range ship-to-shore communication. They are very much limited applications. Whereas wideband FM, it is used for entertainment broadcasting and can be used for high-quality music transmission also, because we can transmit all the voice frequencies as well as musical frequencies. It can accommodate frequencies up to 15 kilohertz. The salient features of wideband FM are modulation index is greater than 1, maximum deviation allowed is 75 kilohertz, and we can transmit message signal frequencies up to 15 kilohertz. Maximum modulation index we can provide up to 2500, and therefore we can provide large bandwidth, large signal to noise ratio, and we have various applications of wideband FM which can be used for entertainment applications and can also be used for high quality music transmissions. Now we will study about pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. Noise has greater effect on higher message signal frequencies than on lower message signal frequencies. The meaning of this sentence is, we have message signal from 20 Hz to 20 kHz. If you take the lower message signal frequencies, 20 Hz, 100 Hz, 1 kHz, 2 kHz, 5 kHz, they are the lower frequencies present in the message. The noise added to these lower frequencies are small compared to the higher message frequencies present in the message signal. An improvement in noise immunity can be achieved if the higher message signal frequencies are artificially boosted at the transmitting end and corresponding cut in the receiver. So we can provide extra noise immunity in case of it. As we already seen that we have noise limiter circuit for limiting the amount of noise. We also saw that by increasing the bandwidth, we can provide more signal to noise ratio. In addition to this pre-emphasis and de-emphasis process we are using for further noise immunity. An improvement in noise immunity can be achieved if the higher message signal frequencies are artificially boosted at the transmitting end and correspondingly cut in the receiver. What is artificial boosting? We will study in detail with the help of the diagrams. So boosting, we call it as a pre-emphasis. It is done in the transmitter side. Corresponding cut is done, that process we call it as de-emphasis. It is done in the receiver. It increases signal to noise ratio. Okay. So noise has greater effect on the higher message signal frequencies than on the lower message signal frequencies. An improvement in noise immunity can be achieved if the higher message signal frequencies are artificially boosted at the transmitter and corresponding cut at the receiver, thereby increasing signal to noise ratio. Boosting of higher modulating frequencies in accordance with the predefined characteristics is termed as pre-emphasis, and the compensation at the receiver is called de-emphasis. An approach for the efficient utilization of the allowed frequency band is based on the use of pre-emphasis in the transmitter and de-emphasis in the receiver. In this approach, we artificially emphasize the high frequency components of the message signal before modulation in the transmitter, and therefore before the noise is introduced in the transmitter and before the noise is introduced in the receiver. Due to the pre-emphasis, lower frequency and higher frequency of the message signals are equalized in such a way that the message fully occupies the frequency band allocated to it. Then at the output of the demodulator in the receiver, we provide inverse operation that we call it as de-emphasis. We de-emphasize the high frequency components so as to restore the original message signal. In this process, high frequency components of noise at the output of the demodulator is also reduced. Thus, there is increase in the output signal to noise ratio system. And hence, this pre-emphasis and de-emphasis process is particularly used for the purpose of providing greater noise immunity, which increases overall signal to noise ratio. Now we'll go into details about pre-emphasis and de-emphasis with the help of the block diagrams. The combined effect of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis is to increase the high frequency components during the transmission so that they will be stronger and not masked by the noise. So observe this block diagram. We have frequency modulated transmitter, channel, and frequency modulated receiver. We have the message signal before the transmitter, before the modulation. We apply the message signal to pre-emphasis filter. We emphasize the higher frequencies present in the message signal, or we artificially boost the amplitudes of the higher frequencies present in the message signal by using pre-emphasis filter, which can be done in a predefined characteristics. The emphasized message signal is applied to transmitter, then radiated using transmitting antenna and is passing through the channel. When we are doing this type of pre-emphasis in the receiver, there is a less tendency for the noise to add the signal in the channel. So there is a minimum amount of noise added in the channel by means of this pre-emphasis. Thereby, we can provide extra noise immunity for the signal to transmit through a channel. And at the receiving end, we are demodulating the signal. After demodulating the signal, it is applied to the de-emphasis filter. The characteristics of de-emphasis filter is reversed to that of pre-emphasis filter. So here we are boosting it. Correspondingly, we have to cut those boosted amplifiers in the de-emphasis filter to get back the original restored message signals. So the main purpose is we can boost before transmitting. After that, after receiving, recovering, we can get back the original levels. By doing so, there is a minimum amount of noise added in the channel. So let us see again this pre-emphasis with the help of another block diagram. Commercial FM uses a system to achieve better signal to noise ratio performance by additional filtering of the output signal and noise. Filtering the message signal before it is transmitted compensates for the effect on the signal. So we have the message signal XFT. It is applied to pre-emphasis filter. Then we do the FM modulation, power amplification. Then we radiate into channel. NFT is the noise process added in the channel. By doing so, by doing pre-emphasis, little amount of noise will be added. And in the receiver, we pick up the message signal, we modulated message signal, we demodulate the modulated signal. After amplification, it is applied to de-emphasis filter to recover back the original message signal levels. And finally, we will be getting Y of t, which is exactly same as that of the transmitted signal with a little amount of noise. So we will be getting more signal to noise ratio compared to AM and FM without pre-emphasis. So the process of boosting the amplitudes of higher modulating frequencies is known as pre-emphasis. It is the process of boosting the higher message signal frequencies present in the message. So in message signal, we have low frequencies from 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. Higher message signals are more corrupted by noise. That is the reason we can boost it. We can amplify, not amplification, we can boost it. We can add the levels, voltage levels to the higher frequencies. Thereby we can provide pre-emphasis. Pre-emphasis can be achieved by using high-pass filter. This is a capacitor and a resistor. So we have a message signal. As the frequency of the message signal increases, The capacitive reactance. The reactance of the capacitor is 1 by omega c. Omega is in the denominator. Omega is 2 pi f. As frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases. So when the capacitive reactance decreases, more current is flowing through the resistor R2. When more current is flowing through the resistor R2, more voltage is developed across R2. So when we are getting more voltage developed across R2, as the frequency increases, as the frequency of the message signal applied here increases, the capacitive reactance decreases, the more current is flowing through the circuit, the more voltage is developed. So we are getting directly proportional voltage across the resistor R as per the frequency of the message signal. So this emphasized message signal is applied to frequency modulated, then power amplification, it is radiated into the channel. So pre-emphasis is done before the modulation. So pre-emphasis is done with the help of these characteristics. Here for lower frequencies, we have on time axis frequency, and this is the voltage level. Frequency response characteristics of the pre-emphasis curve. As the frequency increases, the amplitude increases. Like this. As we see in the previous circuit, as the frequency increases, the amplitude or voltage across R2 increases. It is based upon this particular diagram. So as frequency increases, the amplitude increases. At 2123 Hz, there is a 3 dB compensation added. The pre-emphasis filter is providing a compensation of 3 dB at 2123 Hz frequency. So the slope of this curve is 6 dB for active. So we adjust the time constant of the high pass filter. High pass filter is used as a pre-emphasis filter. In that we have resistor and capacitor. The time constant RC equal to 75 microseconds. There we are providing 6 dB per active slope, and we have artificial increasing of the higher message signal frequencies. See here below 2123, there is a little amount of compensation. After 2123 Hz to 20 kilohertz, there is a more compensation increase. This process we call it as a pre-emphasis process. So all the diagrams are shown here. When message signal frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases, the voltage across R2 increases. Voltage across R2 increases like this. This is the pre-emphasis curve. This high pass filter will act as a pre-emphasizer. And these are the frequency response characteristics of the pre-emphasis circuit. At 2122 Hz, we have 3 dB compensation. And as frequency increases, the compensation is increased according to the slope here. It is provided by adjusting the time constant of the high pass filter to 75 microseconds. After emphasis, we apply it to the frequency modulator. Then a pre-emphasized FM output is applied to transmitter, transmitting antenna, then further radiated into space. If this process is adopted, there is a less amount of noise added in the channel. So pre-emphasis circuit is used at the transmitter before modulation. At the transmitter, the modulating signal is passed through a high pass filter. High pass filter will act as a pre-emphasis circuit. It amplifies the amplitude of high frequency components. As higher frequency of the message signal increases, the amplitude also increases. more than the lower frequency components. So it provides emphasizing the amplitudes of high frequency components more than the lower frequency components as per the pre-emphasis characteristics which we have seen. The circuit amplifies at a rate of 6 dB per active when frequency is greater than 2133 Hz. The time constant for the circuit is selected to 75 microseconds. Now at the demodulation, at the receiving end, after demodulating the signal, emphasizer signal, we will adapt it to a de-emphasis circuit. The reverse process of pre-emphasis is called de-emphasis. This, the frequency response is a return to its normal level. So after demodulation, the signal FM wave is picked up in the receiver. Then it is applied to a demodulator. This demodulator recovers the message signal, which is in an emphasized manner. Then it is applied to a de-emphasis circuit to get back the original restored levels. It is a low pass filter. It is made up of resistor and capacitor. The voltage taken across capacitor. As the frequency here increases, the capacitive reactance decreases. Where is the voltage? Output voltage? Output voltage is across the capacitor. As the frequency here increases, a resistor is independent of frequency. As the frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases. When capacitive reactance decreases here, the voltage across the capacitor decreases. Now the voltages are reduced, coming back to the normal levels. Observe this de-emphasis characteristics. Below 2122, there is a little amount of compensation which we have done at the transmitting end. The same in the reverse direction it is done. There 3 dB compensation is added at 2122 Hz, whereas here minus 3 dB compensation is added at 2122 Hz. Thereby 3 dB level added to 2122 Hz frequency at the transmitting end is compensated for minus 3 dB. Thereby original levels are restored. Similarly, all other frequencies are compensated with the negative voltages. Corresponding cut is done in the receiving end. That means as the frequency increases, the capacitive reactance decreases, the voltage across this capacitor also decreases. It is like this. So we are getting inverse characteristics of pre-emphasis. Thereby the original levels are restored back. So FM wave is picked up by an antenna. It is applied to demodulator, and this is the de-emphasis circuit. It is a low pass filter made up of capacitor and resistor. As the frequency of the message signal increases here, the capacitive reactance decreases, the voltage across the capacitor, that is the output voltage, decreases. And we have added at the transmitting end, we have decreased at the receiving end, thereby original message signals are restored back. Please note that this process is adapted for the purpose such that noise added in the channel is very less. We want actually the original levels only, but by doing pre-emphasis, noise added in the channel is minimized, but at the receiving end, we are supposed to get back the original levels of the message signal, that is an audio output. Is the de-emphasis characteristics. Lower frequencies, so we provided low compensation. Here also low minus compensation is provided at 2123. It is minus 3 dB. There we have added 3 dB level. It is compensated for minus 3 dB level and go on. As the frequency increases, the amplitude decreases. Whereas at the transmitter side, frequency increases, the amplitude increases. So the corresponding compensation is done in the receiver. So de-emphasis circuit is used at the receiving after demodulation. It is simple low pass filter with time constant equal to 75 microseconds. Low pass filter attenuates at a rate of 60 dB per active when frequency is greater than 2133 Hz. And these two diagrams are shown here, pre-emphasis curve and de-emphasis curve. This is done before modulation in the transmitter. This is done after demodulation in the receiver. We make use of 75 microseconds time constant for the resistor capacitor for pre-emphasis circuit as well as de-emphasis circuit, where the time constant is equal to RC. So based on this time constant, we will be able to get the value of R and C. And this is the cutoff frequency, which is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. R is the time constant. When you substitute 75 microseconds here, we are getting it as 2122 Hz. At 2122 Hz, 3 dB is added. After demodulation, minus 3 dB is done. Thereby, original level is restored. For example, at this particular frequency, this much voltage level is added, and after demodulation, this much negative voltage level is added. Thereby, original levels are restored back. So this diagram showing the de-emphasis and de-emphasis and restoring back the original levels at the receiving end. So pre-emphasis refers to boosting the relative amplitudes of the modulating voltage for a higher audio frequencies from 2 kHz to 15 kHz. De-emphasis means attenuating those frequencies by the amount by which they are boosted. However, pre-emphasis is done at the transmitter and the de-emphasis is done in the receiver. The purpose is to improve the signal to noise ratio for FM reception. At a time constant of 75 microseconds in the RC circuit, we have pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. So what is pre-emphasis and de-emphasis? To provide extra noise immunity for the signal transmission. Noise has greater effect on the higher message signal frequencies than on the lower message signal frequencies. An improvement in noise immunity can be achieved if the higher message signal frequencies are artificially boosted at the transmitter and corresponding cut at the receiver, thereby increasing signal to noise ratio. Boosting of higher modulating frequencies in accordance with the predefined characteristics is termed as pre-emphasis, and compensation at the receiver is called de-emphasis. An approach for the efficient utilization of allowed frequency band is based on the use of pre-emphasis in the transmitter and de-emphasis in the receiver. Pre-emphasis is a high-pass filter which can be done before modulation. De-emphasis is a low-pass filter which can be done after demodulation. In this approach, we artificially emphasize the high frequency components of the message signal before modulation in the transmitter, and therefore before the noise is introduced in the receiver. Due to the pre-emphasis, lower frequency and higher frequency of the message signals are equalized in such a way that the message fully occupies the frequency band allotted to it. Then at the output of the demodulator in the receiver, the inverse operation is performed by de-emphasizing the high frequency components so as to restore the original message signals. In this process, high frequency components of noise at the output of the demodulator is also reduced. Thus, there is an increase in the output signal to noise ratio. So in order to understand the concept of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis, we have considered low pass filter, de-emphasis circuit, high pass filter. It is a pre-emphasis circuit. So, and we have seen that 75 microseconds is the time constant For the amount of pre-emphasis, the same time constant is used for de-emphasis also. And this process cannot be adapted in AM. This is adapted only in case of FM. That is why FM provides better noise immunity than AM. The purpose of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis is to improve signal to noise ratio for the FM reception. This is the overall signal to noise ratio improvement based on the boosting. See, the lower frequencies are less affected by noise. Higher frequencies are more affected by noise. Hence, we are increasing the voltage levels of high frequency. This is high frequency. After 2.22 hertz, we are increasing the voltage levels. This is pre-emphasis curve, and corresponding compensation is done in the receiver. This is a de-emphasis curve. So what are the benefits of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis? The circuit increases the energy content of high frequency signal, so it becomes stronger than high frequency noise component. So signal to noise ratio is improved. It improves signal to noise ratio because the noise is very much minimized. It increases intelligibility. It increases the fidelity. Intelligibility means the proper reproduction of the message signal. It increases the fidelity. Fidelity, the faithful reproduction of all frequency components present in the message signal. So fidelity is improved. We will be getting a uniform gain for all the frequencies present in the message signal. The combined effect of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis is to increase the amplitude of high frequency components present in the message signal during transmission so that they will be stronger and not masked by the amount of noise. Now we'll see, summarize the angle modulation schemes, and we also compare AM, FM and PM. Angle modulation is the one type of the analog modulation. In this modulation technique, the angle means frequency or phase of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the message signal. In angle modulation, the amplitude of the carrier wave is maintained constant. So there are two types of angle modulations, namely frequency modulation and phase modulation. Frequency modulation is a form of angle modulation in which the frequency of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the message signal, whereas in phase modulation, phase of the carrier is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal. So the angle modulated signal is expressed as S of t equal to AC cos theta IT. So we are keeping AC constant, only theta IT is varied according with the amplitude of the message signal. In this theta IT, we have frequency term and the phase term. That is the reason we have frequency modulation and phase modulation. So the angle of the unmodulated carrier is theta IT, which is equal to 2 pi FCT plus pi CT. If we vary FC in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal, then we get frequency modulation. If we vary the phase pi C, phase of the carrier, then we will be getting the phase modulation. Where AC is the amplitude of the carrier, theta IT is the angle of the carrier, FC is the carrier frequency, theta C is the phase of the carrier. And we have two types of angle modulations. They are frequency modulation, in which the frequency of the carrier is varied according to the amplitude of the message signal. We have phase modulation, in which the phase of the carrier is varied according to the amplitude of the message signal. In angle modulation, angle of the carrier is varied, but amplitude is constant. Whereas in amplitude modulation, amplitude is varied, but angle is constant. In angle modulations, amplitude is constant, and hence there is a less amount of noise added to the signal. We can make use of limiter circuits to clip up the unwanted noise, and we can make use of the pre-emphasis de-emphasis procedure to further improve the noise immunity. It is possible for us to provide more signal to noise ratio in case of angle modulation schemes. Since the amplitude of the carrier before and after modulation in angle modulation is constant, and hence the total power radiated will be equal to unmodulated carrier power, and it is a constant power. Angle modulation provides better elimination of noise and interference than amplitude modulation. Angle modulation requires large bandwidth than amplitude modulation. The total transmitted power is utilized in angle modulation, but most of the power is wasted due to carrier in amplitude modulation. Advantages of angle modulation: less effect of noise and interference on the signal. Effect of noise can be further decreased by increasing frequency deviation or by use of the amplitude limiters. So if you increase the frequency deviation, modulation index increases, bandwidth also increases. Due to that, signal to noise ratio increases. So noise is reduced. Or we can make use of amplitude limiters to clip up the unwanted noise. Total transmitted power is useful. Signal to noise ratio is more. The amplitude of the modulated carrier is maintained constant at all times. This is the main advantage of angle modulation. The disadvantages of angle modulation are more bandwidth is required. More bandwidth means the bandwidth depends upon the modulation index. The equipment required is more complex and costly. But when compared with advantages, we can minimize the effect of disadvantages. And we also saw the advantages of amplitude modulation. Less bandwidth is required. Circuit is simple and cheap. Disadvantages of amplitude modulation are more noise, more interference. Most of the transmitted power is wasted due to carrier. Noise cannot be reduced further. And hence, amplitude modulation is not well suited for many applications, especially when the channel is offering more severity of noise. So FM provides better discrimination against noise and interference. Frequency modulation, it is a form of angle modulation in which the instantaneous frequency of the carrier is varied according to the message signal. Phase modulation, it is a form of angle modulation in which instantaneous phase of the carrier is varied according to the message signal. This is the message signal. In amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the carrier is changed, whereas in frequency modulation, the frequency of the carrier is changed. As the message amplitude is increasing here, the frequency of the carrier increases. As message amplitude is decreasing here, the frequency of the carrier decreases. So it can provide this type of signal, FM wave, of constant amplitude, and hence the noise added on the tops of the modulated signal, we can clip it off, and it is not possible to clip up the noise added to AM wave because we are making use of amplitude variations in the AM, whereas amplitude is constant, so I can clip up the noise added to the FM wave, thereby producing better signal to noise ratio for the received signal. And we have the relation between FM and PM. FM of M of t, PM of integral of M of t. They are equivalent. FM of M of t is nothing but PM of integral of M of tau d tau. That means we can get FM wave from PM wave. We can get PM wave from FM wave. There is a relation between frequency modulation and phase modulation. So what relation we have? Suppose when message signal M of t is applied to FM modulator, we will be getting FM signal. We can also obtain FM signal by the process of phase modulation. First, pass the message signal through the integrator. Integrator, the message signal is used to phase modulate the carrier. We are getting the FM wave. This is the direct method of generation of FM. This is the indirect method of generation of FM. What is direct method? Message signal is applied to an FM wave. Here the carrier frequency is varied according with the amplitude of the message signal. We will be getting FM signal. Indirectly, we can get a FM wave from phase modulation. How it is done? Integral the message signal is used to phase modulate the carrier to get the FM wave. Similarly, PM of M of t is equivalent to FM of d by dt of M of t. There is again a relation. Message signal, when it is applied to phase modulator, we are getting phase modulated signal. Indirectly, we can get a PM wave by taking d by dt of M of t. Differential of the message signal is used to frequency modulate the carrier to get the PM wave. That means when PM wave is given, I can get FM wave. When FM wave is given, I can get PM wave. The difference is only integral here, d by dt here. That is the difference. And hence, FM of M of t is equivalent to PM of integral of M of t. That means when message signal is applied to frequency modulator, we will be getting the FM wave. When integral of the message signal is used to phase modulate the carrier, we are getting the FM wave. Similarly, PM of M of t is equivalent to FM of d by dt of M of t. The meaning of it is when M of t is applied to phase modulator, we are getting PM wave. Similarly, when differential of M of t is applied to frequency modulation, we will be getting the PM wave. Therefore, FM can be regarded as PM and PM can be regarded as FM. Only the difference is integral and d by dt. If one wave is given, we are able to get the other wave and vice versa. So comparison of FM and AM. FM receivers are immune to noise, whereas AM receivers are not immune to noise. It is possible to decrease noise by increasing deviation. This feature is absent in AM. In FM, bandwidth is higher and depends on modulation index. In AM, bandwidth is lower compared to AM, but independent of modulation index. It is always fixed, 2 times the highest frequency present in the given message signal. FM transmission and reception equipment are more complex, and FM transmission and reception equipment, whereas in case of AM, the transmission and reception equipments are less complex. In FM, all the transmitted power is useful. In AM, carrier power and one sideband power is useless, and hence we can transmit only one sideband. AM amplitude of the carrier is varied according with the amplitude of the message signal. In FM, frequency of the carrier is varied in accordance with the frequency of the message signal. In phase modulation, phase of the carrier is varied according with the amplitude of the message signal. Frequency of the carrier is kept constant in AM. FM, amplitude of the carrier is constant. Phase modulation, amplitude is constant. We have AM types, DS, BSC, SSB, VSB, and FM we have FSK, etc. And PM we have BPSK. For a digital equivalent, we will study in next classes. We discussed in this lesson, we discussed about narrowband FM and wideband FM, need for pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. In order to minimize the effect of noise, we go for pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. Noise has greater effect on higher message signal frequencies than on the lower message signal frequencies. An improvement in noise immunity can be achieved if the higher message signal frequencies are artificially boosted at the transmitter and corresponding cut at the receiver, thereby increasing signal to noise ratio. Boosting of higher modulating frequencies In accordance with the predefined characteristics is termed as pre-emphasis, and the corresponding compensation in the receiver, we call it as de-emphasis. So we also studied the benefits of the pre-emphasis. We compared various analog modulation schemes in this lesson. The time constant of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis circuit is 75 microseconds. Boosting of the amplitudes of the higher frequency components of the message signal is called pre-emphasis. Frequently asked question. After listening to this lesson, you must able to answer these questions. Define narrowband FM and wideband FM. Compare narrowband FM and wideband FM. Define pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. What are the benefits of pre-emphasis and de-emphasis? Explain pre-emphasis and de-emphasis circuits. Compare AM, FM and PM.